Hi, I'm Barry Cassidy, and this is the Downtown Report. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about the streetscape that is funded through the Chester County Landscapes Program. I'd like to take you down now and show you what we're doing with the trees and how the trees are going to be put in the downtown streetscape. Many of the existing features on the streetscape have been changed. Some of the trees have been cut down. Due to improper maintenance 2.5 years ago, the trees that are currently on Bridge Street were cut back to the point where it was cut into the trunk of the tree. We were not able to save these trees, and these trees had to be eliminated, and they were cut down, as you can see. We basically took out 6 trees on Bridge Street, and we're replacing them with 40 trees. One of the intriguing things that happened, though, is we came upon a 100-year American elm on Bridge Street, and we were able to save that. I'd like to take you down and show you that tree now. Behind me is about a 100-year-old elm, and we're going to be able to save this elm, and this was one of the highlights of the streetscape project. Not only is it saving some of the historic buildings, but saving some of the historic sites that exist. We have the bluffs to our right. We have the American elm on Bridge Street, and we wanted to preserve that character of the downtown. Items that don't mean anything really, like an existing retaining wall, that's subject to negotiation. It can be taken out. But trying to cut down a 100-year-old American elm, which is probably one of the few American elms left in the United States, would be a tragedy. So we worked around it. The French Creek Parkway is going near it, but it won't harm it, and we worked in the land development plan of the superintendent's building that this elm would remain. This area was once a parking lot, and there was a wall that ran here, which was the wall for the street line when there were buildings here. No one remembers buildings being here. We took the water department here to see if there was any outstanding lines, laterals that were abandoned or anything. Nobody remembered any time that these buildings were here. So this was a long time ago. When we were digging out this wall to put in the brick sidewalks, one of the things that we found is we found window wells. So whatever buildings that were here had windows almost in a subterranean type situation where people would be able to look out. So evidently they had used the basements. Currently the property is used as a parking lot. But what's going to happen is there's going to be buildings built on the street line. This is a property that is owned by Phoenix Property Group, and part of their retail development plan is to continue the street line on Bridge Street. So we had to dig up this wall. Now we're going to install the brick sidewalk, and we're going to back this up with a building at some point here soon. This is the area where we're putting in the brick sidewalk. You can see that we've run conduit underneath the fill, and we're covering it with a geotechnical substance. Then we're putting in additional fill, and we're rolling it down and compacting it. The brick sidewalk will go up. And because we don't have any buildings here, what we're going to do is we're going to carry the wall line down, and we're going to put a little mound of dirt. And then when the foundations for the new buildings are put in, they'll just be put in next to them. The bricklayers tell me that there's an end cap brick that they normally put in there. It's called an end brick. And that will be the end of the brick sidewalk on this side until the area is dug up and the foundations are put in and the new buildings are built. But the brick sidewalk will extend all the way up to Main Street, and many of the cutouts for the conduit are in there now and need to be compacted. This is one of the locations where the new tree is going to be put in on Bridge Street. You can see it's demarked by tree. But you also see that there is a conduit coming up out of the ground. What that conduit is for is that we are going to put a ground fault receptacle in the base of the tree pit. And that ground fault receptacle will be utilized to light the trees in the winter for Christmas and try to bring the more Christmas decorations more down to eye level. In addition, We're running 20 amp circuits to each of the trees, which would give us an opportunity during festivals to have a more diverse representation when it comes to food and the like, where people need electricity. I'm thinking about trying to get a 220 location up here somewhere, but right now we're going to work off of the 20 amp services in the tree pit. One of the ways that we revitalize is to recruit new businesses to town. One of the businesses that we've been successful in recruiting is the Iron Hill Brewery. We did not have a building that would fit Iron Hill, so we took a vacant lot and we're doing a new construction, but we're making sure that the new construction is architecturally compatible with the existing historic district. So we're creating some older looking buildings within the downtown. Many times when you do this, you run into a lot of different kinds of problems that you wouldn't normally run into. Sometimes there's gas lines, sometimes there's existing buildings. In this case, we ran into rock, and that's what you're hearing in the background. Now, I'd like to take you down and show you exactly what's going on down in the hole here where Iron Hill is going. Iron Hill is scheduled to open sometime in February, and we're looking forward to having them in the community. Anytime that you excavate, you have to be aware that you're going to come across some unknowns. Sometimes it's a tank in the ground, sometimes it's wires that are buried, sometimes it's abandoned gas main. In this case, when we were digging the foundation for the Iron Hill, we came across rock that was embedded in one of the corners. It sort of modified the work plan. What we had to do is we had to build a steep slope down, bring in the necessary equipment to get that rock out, and bang that rock out. It was something that wasn't expected. We weren't expecting to hit rock that close to the surface, but we hit a significant portion of rock. So the heavy machinery had to come down, clear this out. The bottom here will be the offices, the brewing facilities, and sundry storage for the Iron Hill Brewery. This is Barry Cassidy for the Downtown Report. Join me again for the next edition.